Picture this. You've just stepped aboard your dream cruise. The buffet glistens with endless shrimp, prime rib, and chocolate fountains. But here's the dark truth. Not everything on that deck is as all-inclusive as it seems. Cruise insiders quietly laugh, knowing most passengers fall for the same buffet traps every single sailing. From recycled food secrets to crew-only menus you'll never see. These dining revelations could change how you eat at sea forever. Stay tuned, because secret number 7 shocks even the most loyal cruisers and might just ruin the midnight buffet for good. The buffet is a recycled wonderland. Let us start with a truth most cruise lines will never admit. That freshly prepared feast on the buffet line? It's often yesterday's dinner wearing a new outfit. Most passengers step up to the buffet expecting everything to be cooked from scratch. But here's what really happens behind the galley doors. After each meal, leftover dishes from the main dining room are inventoried, chilled, and, if they pass inspection, reused the next day. That leftover chicken parm from dinner? It becomes Italian bake at lunch. The untouched roast beef gets sliced thin, tossed into chef's salad. It's not necessarily unsafe, it's just repurposed. Cruise kitchens are masters of disguise, and with thousands of mouths to feed, every bit counts. But here's the catch. Once food hits that steam tray for the second time, texture and flavor take a nosedive. What was once juicy and rich becomes rubbery and bland. The consequence? You could be filling your plate with reheated leftovers while thinking you redining on something brand new. Multiply that by an entire week on board, and you're paying for a 5-star experience that's quietly recycling itself behind the scenes. Here's what the insiders know. Go early. Hit the buffet the moment it opens. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner. That's when the freshest trays come out, straight from the galley. And always favor live cooking stations, omelet bars, pasta stands, carving stations. If you can see it being made, it hasn't been recycled. Because on a cruise buffet, timing isn't just everything. It's the difference between made fresh and made again. Crew have their own secret buffets. Here's something most passengers will never see. The crew's secret buffet. A hidden dining hall below decks serving food far different from what you get upstairs. While you're spooning up the same pasta and bland roast chicken from the passenger buffet, crew members are enjoying spicy curries, stir-fried noodles, and homemade breads in what's called the crew mess. These aren't luxury meals, but they're real food, cooked with flavor, culture, and heart. On Royal Caribbean, you'll find Filipino adobo nights. On MSC, there's often roti and dal made by South Asian cooks. And on Carnival, crew look forward to Sunday stew, made with fresh spices that never make it to the guest deck. Why does it matter? Because cruise lines tone down buffet flavor for mass appeal. They remove seasoning, lower spice levels, and replace authentic ingredients with cheaper, safer options to please 4,000 passengers from 50 countries. So while you think the food is just okay, the crew is eating something that tastes like home. And here's the insider's catch. Some of those dishes do make brief guest appearances. Sometimes, during theme nights or late-night buffets, chefs slip in small batch versions of crew favorites to test reactions. Pro tip: want a taste of what the crew really eats? Start conversations. Be friendly with your dining staff. Ask, what's your favorite dish on board? Or is there a crew-only special the passengers never see? You'd be surprised. Some chefs will quietly tip you off to secret menu nights or off-menu requests. Because on a cruise ship, it's not about who you know, it's who you ask. The all-you-can-eat myth. Let's bust one of the biggest lies at sea. The phrase, all you can eat. It sounds limitless, but behind the buffet line, cruise kitchens are quietly rationing the good stuff. Here's what most cruisers don't realize. Not every tray is bottomless. Those crab legs, lobster tails, jumbo shrimp, or carved prime rib, they're released in controlled waves. On Carnival and Royal Caribbean, staff get specific timing instructions. Never restock premium trays too fast. Why? Because those items are expensive and cruise lines budget every ounce. Picture this. You're on day 2 of your Caribbean voyage. You stroll into the lunch buffet and see an empty platter labeled grilled salmon. The server smiles. More coming soon. You wait 10 minutes. Nothing. That soon is deliberate. It's a timing trick. By the time it's refilled, the crowd has moved on to pasta or fries, saving the ship hundreds in food costs each day. And here's the kicker. Crew are trained to distract you. When premium dishes come out, they subtly steer lines away, point to desserts, or start conversation. It's all part of the flow control game. Why it matters? You're paying for the illusion of abundance. But the reality is, you're in a carefully managed rotation that ensures you see the good stuff, not necessarily eat it. Pro tip: learn the timing. Premium trays usually reappear 10 to 15 minutes before meal switchovers, right before lunch ends or dinner starts. That's when chefs empty remaining stock. Hang back, be patient, and you'll catch the real buffet jackpot without fighting the crowds. Because on a cruise buffet, all you can eat really means all we'll allow you to see. The dangerous hidden heat zone. Here's the buffet danger no one talks about. The hidden heat zone. It's where food looks perfectly fine, but has slipped into the temperature danger zone, warm enough for bacteria to thrive, not hot enough to be safe. Most passengers think cruise buffets are tightly regulated, and they are, in theory. But when thousands of people line up for omelets, eggs, or seafood at once, timing gets sloppy. On busy sailings, trays sit under heat lamps longer than they should. Those lamps look hot, but they only keep food around 120 degrees Fahrenheit, far below the safe 140 degrees Fahrenheit mark. That's when trouble begins. Real example. On a recent Carnival sailing, a passenger reported mild food poisoning after this seafood medley. The culprit? Shrimp that had been sitting in steam trays through 2 meal periods. The food wasn't spoiled, just warm instead of hot. Multiply that across hundreds of dishes, and you've got the perfect recipe for upset stomachs at sea. Why it matters? You're miles away from shore, and ship infirmaries are small. Foodborne illness at sea spreads fast. One contaminated tray can affect an entire dining crowd before anyone notices. Pro tip: always check temperature with your senses. If a dish isn't piping hot or chilled cold, skip it. Be especially cautious with egg dishes, creamy sauces, seafood salads, and anything that's been restirred. And here's the insider trick: grab from freshly replaced trays, not ones that have been picked through. Because in a cruise buffet, warm isn't comforting, it's a warning sign. The crew-only dessert rotation. Here's a sweet secret the cruise lines will never confess. The best desserts on board never make it to your buffet plate. You've seen the dessert section, rows of frozen cheesecakes, dry brownies, and mousse cups that all taste vaguely the same. But behind closed galley doors, the pastry chefs are baking real masterpieces for the officers, sweet guests, and VIP events. We're talking about freshly whipped tiramisu, chocolate soufflés, and fruit tarts with hand-cut berries. They're not mass-produced. They remade in small batches and served in exclusive dining areas you'll never walk through. On one Royal Caribbean ship, a pastry chef admitted that premium desserts, the ones with real cream or imported chocolate, are reserved for Captain S receptions or Officer S dinners. The buffet gets the frozen versions, thawed overnight and glazed to look fresh. Cruise kitchens simply can't afford to make artisan desserts for thousands. So while guests fill plates with okay but not great treats, the real indulgence happens below deck. Why does this matter? Because dessert quality says a lot about where you stand in the food hierarchy at sea. The buffet isn't meant to impress. It's meant to move product fast. Pro tip: skip the buffet suites. Instead, visit the main dining room during lunch or sea days. They often serve the same premium pastries without the VIP label. Or grab dessert from specialty cafes. Many serve the same baked goods from the officer's menu, often included in your fare. Because on a cruise ship, the sweetest things aren't on display, they're hidden in plain sight. The breakfast juice hoax. Let us expose one of the biggest breakfast scams at sea. That freshly squeezed orange juice you happily sipping? It's almost never fresh. Cruise lines love to market their morning buffets as full of fresh fruit and juice options. But here's the reality. Most of that orange juice is a concentrated syrup mixed with ship-filtered water. It's not dangerous, just disappointing. On MSC and Norwegian Cruise Line, dispensers labeled 100% orange juice are actually filled with reconstituted mix shipped in bulk containers. Even the color gives it away: bright, unnatural, and way too sweet. Why do they do it? Fresh juice spoils fast and is expensive to store on long sailings. A single gallon of concentrate, on the other hand, can make dozens of liters. Multiply that saving across thousands of passengers, and cruise lines pocket thousands each voyage, while you think you're drinking something healthy. Real example. One Carnival bartender once revealed that real orange juice is reserved for cocktail service, not breakfast. Why? Because it's counted as a premium ingredient, used in mimosas and screwdrivers where flavor actually matters. Guests at the buffet? They get the mix. Why it matters? If you're watching your sugar intake or looking for real nutrients, that breakfast drink is a hidden sugar bomb. Pro tip: skip the buffet dispenser. Head to any ship bar in the morning and order fresh juice directly. It's usually from the premium stock and only costs a small upcharge. Or bring your own fruit on board for smoothies. Because when it comes to cruise juice, fresh often just means freshly poured from a box. The secret ingredient switcheroo. Here's a sneaky buffet trick most cruisers never catch: the ingredient swap. Cruise kitchens quietly substitute cheaper versions of premium ingredients, and you'd never know it. Take the seafood section, for example. That shrimp cocktail everyone rushes for, often made with tiny prawns or reprocessed surimi. That's imitation crab made from fish paste. The beef stew might use leftover roast or even a blend of cheaper cuts. It's all perfectly edible, but it's not what the menu suggests. And the labels? They're carefully worded. Seafood mix, chef's medley, artisan blend. These are the cruise world's polite ways of saying, not the real thing. Why does this happen? It's pure logistics. Real shrimp, crab, or high-grade beef spoil quickly and cost a fortune to ship and store at sea. Substituting allows the cruise line to serve luxury dishes on a mass scale while keeping food costs under control. Here's a real-life story. A Royal Caribbean galley worker once admitted that their Alaskan crab dip contained zero crab. It was made from pollock, a white fish shaped and flavored to mimic the real deal. Most passengers loved it anyway. Why it matters? You might be paying for a premium cruise, but still getting cafeteria-level ingredients. Over a week-long trip, that's hundreds of dollars of illusion on your plate. Pro tip: read labels carefully. Anything that says imitation, mix, or flavored isn't genuine. For real quality, skip the buffet and go to specialty restaurants or live grill stations. If it's cooked in front of you, it's probably authentic. Because on a cruise ship, luxury often means marketing, not ingredients. The midnight snack illusion. Here's the truth about that famous midnight buffet. It's not the magical, made-from-scratch feast you imagine. It's a carefully disguised recycling project. When the ship announces midnight snacks on Deck 9, most cruisers picture chefs cooking through the night. In reality, the galley isn't firing up new dishes. It's repurposing what's left from earlier meals. Those carved meats? Yesterday's roast. The pasta samplers? Leftover sides from dinner. Even the desserts, the cupcakes and mousse shots, are usually day-old leftovers from the lunch pastry cart, dressed up with a new garnish or drizzle. Why do they do it? Because cruise buffets are built to minimize waste. Every tray that doesn't get emptied gets logged, chilled, and marked for reuse. Late-night buffets are the perfect cover. It's dark, the lighting is romantic, and no one's questioning freshness after a few cocktails. Here's a real example. One NCL passenger posted a viral photo comparing the midnight sandwiches with the lunch buffet as cold cuts. They were identical, just stacked higher. It's not unsafe, but it's certainly not freshly made. Why it matters? The midnight buffet is a show, not a service. It looks indulgent, but it's really a cleanup strategy. And if you're sensitive to food quality or freshness, it's the worst time to eat on board. Pro tip: skip the spectacle. Order from the 24-hour room service or head to the pizza counter. Those kitchens make food to order and are still running at night. Because at sea, the midnight buffet isn't a secret party, it's a leftover parade. The allergy shuffle. If you've got food allergies, this is the cruise buffet truth you need to hear. Those gluten-free, nut-free, or dairy-free labels. They don't always mean what you think they do. Most cruise buffets are massive operations. Dozens of cooks, hundreds of trays, and thousands of utensils moving constantly. Even though ships like Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and MSC do their best to label food correctly, cross-contamination is nearly impossible to prevent. One serving spoon slips into the wrong tray, and suddenly, your peanut-free dessert has a trace of nuts. Real story. A passenger on a Caribbean cruise reported a mild allergic reaction after eating a gluten-free brownie. The staff was sympathetic, but when the galley checked, They found the same spatula had been used to serve both regular and gluten-free batches. Mistakes like that happen every day, not from carelessness, but from the sheer chaos of feeding thousands. Why it matters? At sea, medical resources are limited. Even minor reactions can ruin your trip, and severe ones can force an emergency call to the ship's doctor, or worse, an unscheduled port stop. Pro tip: never rely solely on buffet labels. Before you sail, register your allergy with the cruise line. Most have a special diets team that prepares meals separately in a controlled kitchen. On board, skip the buffet and dine in the main dining room instead. Chefs there can confirm ingredients directly. Because in a ship's buffet, nut-free might mean we tried, not we guarantee. The hidden timing trick. Here's a secret every cruise veteran eventually learns. Timing is everything at the buffet, and the crew uses it to control what you eat. Most passengers think food quality depends on the cruise line. In reality, it depends on when you show up. Buffets are carefully timed cycles, and staff hold back premium dishes early in the service to prevent a rush. You might walk in right when the doors open, expecting first pick, but surprise, that juicy roast beef or fresh seafood platter won't appear until 20 or 30 minutes later. Here's how it works. On embarkation day, food managers stagger dish releases to stretch inventory. Early guests get the safe foods: pasta, potatoes, chicken. Once the first wave dies down, the chefs roll out the premium trays. It's a calculated move to balance supply and avoid running out too fast. Real-life example. On a Royal Caribbean sailing, a traveler noticed the carving station was empty at 6 p.m., even though dinner opened at 5:45. By 6:20, a chef rolled out perfectly cooked prime rib, timed right after the early rush left. Those who waited scored a feast. Why it matters. If you don't know the schedule, you'll either miss the best food or get stuck with leftovers. Pro tip: the buffet sweet spot is 30 minutes after opening. That's when the premium trays hit the line, but before the main crowd floods in. Or, dine during off-peak hours. Late lunches and early dinners mean fresher food and shorter lines. Because at sea, it's not just what you eat, it's when you eat it that counts. The bottomless beverage lie. Let's talk about another buffet illusion. That bottomless soda, coffee, or juice you've been promised isn't quite as unlimited or as pure as you think. Cruise lines love advertising unlimited refills and endless beverages as part of their drink packages. But here's the insider truth. Most of those drinks are heavily diluted or poured from concentrated syrups. The soda fountains on Carnival, MSC, and even Royal Caribbean use CO to regulated syrup-to-water ratios. And to stretch supply, those ratios are often turned down, meaning more water, less flavor. It's all perfectly legal, but it's definitely not what you think you're paying for. Coffee is another trick. Most buffets don't serve freshly brewed coffee at all. It's instant concentrate pumped through a dispenser. That iced coffee or latte you love, often a powdered mix designed to mimic the real thing. And if you've ever noticed your soda tastes flat halfway through the cruise, that's because the ship's syrup line tanks are being refilled and recalibrated mid-voyage. Why does it matter? Because drink packages are one of the cruise line's biggest profit centers. You could be paying $20 to $30 a day for watered-down beverages that cost pennies to produce. Pro tip: skip the buffet drink stations. Head to a bar or cafe. Bartenders use sealed soda cans and fresh coffee beans. If you have a drink package, it still applies there. And always refill your water bottle from the bar's filtered ice water, not the buffet taps. Those lines run through miles of tubing. Because on a cruise, bottomless drinks don't mean endless quality, just endless markup. This specialty chef mirage. Here's a cruise buffet illusion that feels classy but isn't. Those international chef stations that look like gourmet experiences, they're often just glorified assembly lines. Cruise lines love to advertise that their buffets feature world-class chefs and authentic cuisine from around the globe. But behind the counter, the truth is more ordinary. Those sushi rolls, tacos, or pasta dishes you see being served, usually prepped hours earlier by general kitchen staff, not trained specialists. This sushi chef might actually be a cook rotated from the breakfast shift. It's not deception, it's logistics. With thousands of guests to feed, real chefs can't personally cook every dish. Here's a real-life peek. On one popular Royal Caribbean ship, guests lined up for a Japanese night at the buffet. The rolls looked great, but the chef behind the counter admitted they were assembled in the back hours before, then chilled and plated for service. He wasn't Japanese, nor a sushi expert, just a galley crew member following a recipe card. Why it matters? You're not getting the handcrafted, chef-led meal you think you are. And when dishes are made in bulk and stored, authenticity and freshness take a hit. Pro tip: watch for live demonstration events or specialty restaurant tastings. Those are the times real chefs actually cook and interact with guests. Or head to smaller, themed restaurants on board. They often share the same galley but prepare food a la minute. Because on a cruise ship, that chef special might be more about the show than the skill. The unlimited ice cream lie. Here's a cool secret that might melt your cruise excitement a little. That unlimited ice cream machine everyone loves? It's not actually ice cream. Most cruise lines proudly advertise endless soft serve as a highlight of their buffet, but what you getting is a powdered, dairy-free frozen mix. It's not made from real milk or cream. It's a shelf-stable product designed for long voyages and easy cleaning. On Royal Caribbean and Carnival, that mix is delivered in bags, blended with water, and pumped through the machine. It's efficient, cheap, and consistent, but definitely not premium. Why does it matter? Because passengers line up thinking they getting the same creamy treat they find in a parlor back home. Instead, it's closer to a frozen dessert, light, airy, and full of stabilizers. Cruise lines use it because real ice cream requires cold storage, daily maintenance, and higher sanitation standards. The fake stuff? Just pour, freeze, and serve. Real example: an MSC crew member once revealed that soft serve is technically classified as non-dairy frozen dessert, meaning it can legally skip dairy labeling. The upside? It doesn't spoil. The downside? It doesn't taste like much either. Why it matters? If you're chasing that creamy, rich dessert experience, you're lining up for a shortcut. Pro tip: for real ice cream, skip the buffet. Head to the ship's cafe or specialty dessert bar. Most carry hand-scooped premium ice creams, and on many ships, it's included if you ask. Bonus: those stations often rotate unique flavors you won't find anywhere else on board. Because at the cruise buffet, the ice cream isn't endless, just endlessly fake. The VIP food shortcut. Here is a secret that stings a little. Not everyone on your cruise is eating from the same buffet at the same time. Some passengers and crew get a head start. It's called the VIP food shortcut, and it happens quietly every single day. Officers, suite guests, and loyalty tier passengers often get early access to the buffet or private dining areas before general guests are even allowed in. On luxury lines like Celebrity or MSC's Yacht Club, that means the freshest fruit, uncut cakes, and first-pour seafood platters are gone before you even see them. Even on mainstream ships like Carnival and Royal Caribbean, officers or high-tier guests are occasionally invited to exclusive previews, 15 minutes of early entry that guarantees them untouched dishes and prime seating. By the time the doors officially open, the shrimp trays have been picked, and the fruit displays are already a little sparse. Why it matters? Cruise buffets rely on first impressions, but not everyone gets the same one. You might think the buffet looks picked over because you arrived late, but in truth, you just weren't part of the first wave. Real story: a passenger once posted a photo comparing the buffet opening time on her keycard, 11:30, with the officer's private invite, 11:15. The difference? 15 minutes, and a completely different dining experience. Pro tip: arrive early and wait at the entrance 5 to 10 minutes before scheduled opening. Or, better yet, dine at off-peak times when staff restock trays. That's when you'll find the buffet at its freshest. Because on a cruise ship, the real first-class service sometimes starts 15 minutes before yours does. The crew's favorite waste trick. This last secret might just change the way you look at that steaming pot of soup. Cruise buffets are masters of waste management, and their most clever trick is what insiders call the blend. Every day, cruise ships produce tons of uneaten food. Tossing it all overboard isn't an option, and wasting it is bad for business. So, kitchens quietly recycle it. Not in the buffet trays you see, but in the dishes where no one can tell what's inside. Soups, stews, casseroles, chowders, and chef specials. That seafood chowder you love? It might include yesterday's leftover shrimp, some chicken trimmings, and vegetables from last night's stir-fry. Everything is chopped fine, re-seasoned, and reborn as something new. It's efficient, legal, and smart from a cost perspective, but not exactly the fresh experience guests imagine. Real story. A former galley worker on a Norwegian cruise shared that yesterday's roast often became today's soup base. It's not unsafe. Cruise kitchens follow strict temperature and storage rules, but it's not glamorous either. By the end of a long voyage, many signature soups have a little bit of every dinner you've ever eaten. Why it matters? You're paying for variety, but often getting creative recycling. And while it keeps prices low and waste minimal, it's another reminder that buffets are built for scale, not flavor. Pro tip: avoid mystery soups and stews, anything too creamy or chef's choice. Instead, stick to freshly cooked items you can identify: grilled meats, carved roasts, made-to-order omelets, or salad bars with whole ingredients. Because at sea, not everything new is truly new. Sometimes, it's just yesterday reheated with a new name. So now you know the truth. The cruise buffet isn't the endless paradise it's made out to be. It's a carefully controlled system designed to feed thousands, minimize waste, and maximize profits. From recycled roasts to powdered ice cream, from hidden VIP shortcuts to ingredient switcheroos, every tray tells a story. But here's the good news. Now you know how to play the game. You can time your meals for the freshest dishes, skip the risky trays, and head straight for the live cooking stations where the real chefs work their magic. You'll avoid the traps that most passengers fall into, and you'll finally eat like an insider at sea. Because the smartest cruisers don't just fill their plates, they fill them strategically. If this opened your eyes to how cruise dining really works, hit like, subscribe, and comment your biggest buffet shocker below. I want to know which secret surprised you the most. And if you're ready to go even deeper, don't miss our next video. Back-end index pointing right. Over 50 in cruising? 12 hidden perks cruise lines won't mention. Trust me, if you thought the buffet secrets were wild, wait till you see what's quietly disappearing from cruise decks next year.